You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene. Johnson.
The AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV's Get Out Alive with Bear Grylls After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Get Out Alive with Bear Grylls After Show.
I feel like I need to salute.
I agree.
You think Bear would salute?
Yes.
Totally. All right.
Totally.
Okay.
Can we just hug and kiss real quick?
Yes, let's do, please. Let's just hug. Mwah. I love you. Hey, everybody. What's up? Welcome to AfterBuzz TV. I'm your host, Candel Bliss, and joining us tonight, of course, the AM broadcast, Miss Ashley Michelle.
You knew my Twitter before I even said it. Why don't you have to plug myself? I'm Ashley. Hey.
And our special guest tonight, we're missing the boys, so this is an all-girls show, which you should be really excited about. But my lovely, beautiful, amazing Mama Donna, OMG. I'm so happy. I'm so happy to have my mom and partner in this amazing journey here with us tonight. So you guys, I'm excited. You guys call in if you have any questions for us as a team about the show, our experience. We would love to hear from you.
I'm decompressing right now.
I know.
I need to do the same. My heart is still racing, I swear, from the episode. It's too much.
Well, can I just get everything out on the table right now?
Please,
let's just get it all out.
Let's just lay it out real quick.
Girl talk.
You know what? Candel Bliss and I,
Stay close to your mic.
we definitely are like this. Hey, there is no tearing us apart. I don't care what her funny humor is or anything. We're thick as thieves. And this show only made us thicker. Mm-hmm. So for the naysayers out there, we're BFFs forever. Okay.
I love it.
Thanks.
My
I think
mom
you
is
can tell that.
cheesy
It's
and
evident
amazing.
to me, at least, when I watch.
Well, I appreciate that. That's very important. I mean, obviously, we had some things we wanted to prove when we went into this show, just about our depth and her character, obviously. Things that were important to us. And more than that is just our relationship. And for our relationship to be anything less than what is real would have been very disappointing. So I appreciate that.
I think people who know us and understand our relationship get it. And, you know, I think the second episode played our relationship up a little worse than it actually was. And this episode, yeah, we were frustrated with each other a little bit. You know, when she's kind of talking herself down, not only am I mad in general, but I'm mad that she's talking down to herself because I'm so proud of her for what we're doing that it makes it hard for me to hear. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what didn't come across, I think, correctly in the episode. And, you know, and it's a lesson for me too, that to see how other people see the way that we communicate and the way that we talk to each other. And maybe it's not right, maybe it's not perfect, but fix me, please.
You have like a little
flick.
flick.
This is part of our relationship also. We pick each other, you know.
Thanks, Mama Donna.
We pick each other apart, you know, and we're the only mother-daughter team. Therefore, we're the only representation of the way mothers and daughters are sometimes. And you can talk to each other in a way that you don't talk to anyone else. And sometimes you bicker. And
I mean, please jump in on that.
Yeah,
I mean,
please.
validate
Absolutely.
that.
I mean, I don't think that even needs to be, you know, I don't want you guys to be upset or Canden you to be upset because people might think, well, you know, she shouldn't talk to her mom a certain way. At the end of the day, you can't, that's who you talk, I mean, it sounds bad, but like that's who you can talk to with brutal honesty and they're
So
still going to
forgiving.
love you. Absolutely. And I don't think it comes across as you being, you know, disrespectful or negative. It comes from the underlying motivation of you wanting your mother to do good.
And unfortunately, what they don't show before that is how we're literally holding hands and like, hugging all the time and being so supportive and us telling each other how proud we are of each other, it just gets to a certain point where you can't say that anymore. It doesn't work.
Well, it's funny because I've noticed throughout the whole season so far that they only do it in moments when they need it to be that way. Because there are other moments when they're not highlighting any drama between, the two of you or anyone else. Like you holding on to each other, you sitting on your mom's lap. I mean, so it's clear. Maybe not in this one particular episode, but I think up until this point, everyone knows how close you are.
That's sweet.
Well, we hope so, and we hope that that everybody appreciates that relationship, because we certainly do. And there wouldn't, I think someone tweeted me, I think it was like Walmart or Procter & Gamble, not a shameless plug, just saying, they tweeted me earlier today.
That we're saying that's bad.
And said, it was thank you, Mom. And it was saying, what do you think is, what do you have going for you? And I just said, I am so thankful that she pushed me to do the show, because I was against it completely initially. It was her idea, and I was like, you are crazy. I'm not doing this.
I'm crazy.
And I'm so glad that she did, and I think she's very glad and thankful that I pushed her once we got there.
Right.
Because she wanted into this, but I think once she got there, she kind of wanted out.
Exactly.
And I was like, heck no, we are in this. And it was like the reverse.
Right.
Like, I really got into it and was so... I just immersed myself into the experience and did not want it to end. As miserable as it was sometimes, I didn't want it to go away. I was already my mind had tuned into a different station,
How did it affect your relationship? I mean, because obviously you're super close. You were before, you are now. But there has to be some sort of growth, because you guys experience things nobody else will ever experience with you. Only the two of you can relate to each other because of this show.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not real good at answering questions, I guess.
No,
but I think the growth is definitely there. Number one, I believe that Canden has learned to be less fearful, to trust people, and to maybe not be so analytical, to where you just beat a dead horse. Like, just have faith and do something different that seems very scary to you. And then for me, it was not to be a quitter, because when things get hard, it gets really dumb.
Yeah, as we saw, when you say, I hate this mountain, I think seeing it on TV too, I hope, certain things that showed me, oh, wow, maybe, not that everything's perfect and exactly true or on TV, but there's just certain things that you kind of see it in the way the public sees it, the way everybody else sees it, and you're like, oh, wow, I've never seen it like that before. So you have to take that into consideration. And so I think, just like she's saying, for her, when things get tough, everything's dumb, everything's stupid, she puts everything down in order to be able to move past it and get through it. And
I don't want to be that person.
No.
I don't have a whole lifetime yet to live, but I have enough years where this old dog can learn new tricks. And if it means trying to be more positive, that's what I want to take out of it. I mean, I wasn't 100% successful, but for me, winning was not being sent home first.
Heck yeah.
I was such an underdog, and I think 4 whole journeys with a few moans. Hey, winning!
Yeah, it's funny that you guys that was mentioned tonight, because even if you might have said a few things, you don't come across one bit negative. You're like the team cheerleader. I mean, that's what it looks like.
And I am a silly cheerleader. I'm a girl, and that's part of this whole, like, who I am is, I'm this high heels, hot rollers, cheerleader, dance team girl.
Way more than me.
I'm just old. I'm all of that, but just older. I'm still that same person.
Right.
And for Canden, totally a different person that God created for us. But wimpy sissy, toughy athlete kind of thing. And so that's what y'all were seeing out of her mouth came the star athlete, that rough and tumble kid in the barn. And I'm just sort of a sissy all the time. But I proved to myself and all my girlfriends at home, the ones that I really care about, that I can do things. So.
And I'm very proud of her. And I think I'm proud of myself, because I think I'd forgotten what she knew I had in me, that fight and that strength. I forgot I had that because I got wrapped up in a world that maybe told me I wasn't, or the way that I looked was different than who I thought I was. And just surrounded myself with people who maybe didn't have that same attitude and strength. And it revitalized that part of me and showed me that I can eat worms, like, maggots. Like, I would down those maggots.
You're like, I had so many of those.
I had so many maggots because there was no way in hell, I'm sorry, I was eating half-formed, developed. Let's get there. Let's talk about the episode.
Let's start
we'll talk.
Let's go to the beginning. Okay, well, I can if you'd like. We can go back and forth, of course. But let's go back to when we drew the knives from the very beginning. You guys, for the first time, drew food, something different than fire. How did that feel? Were you, like, excited, or was that scary?
No, I think we were.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, we were, at that point, we were pumped because literally we've been sitting around the campfire at base camp, and she's been cooking red beans and rice and talking about food and how much we love food and we love to cook for people. That's what we've been talking about.
Right.
And so fire was part of it, and we got to help with food, but to
Right.
be in charge of food was exciting.
Yeah, I just knew, okay, our time to shine, please. Food is going to be an epic, monumental time for us. And so we were really excited about the food.
And then...
At that point.
Yeah, at that point.
For like 5 minutes.
And then Jim and Austin and Robin and Wilson had shelter.
Yeah.
Madeline and Ryan and... who was it? Madeline and Ryan and Royce and Kyle had obstacle. And then Jeff and Chris and Lucky and Louie had fire.
Right.
Did everybody seem content with what they received?
I think so.
I think so.
Is it ever intimidating? Because I feel like, especially with you guys, you were so used to fire, but it's probably a nice change for you.
I kind of wish we'd stuck with them.
Well, before you found out what
Dang
it was.
Canden, pull it's the same knife. Darn it.
Yeah, that's
It was
your
going
fault.
so good.
But then after this, we hop on the helicopter, and you both said when we were watching, it was the most fun helicopter ride yet. Why was that?
No doors.
Okay.
Okay, so there's that thrill, that little danger piece in there, and then, your arms, your hair's flying out of the helicopter.
It was pretty intense.
And our particular driver, he would take a mountain head on, kind of like Chicken. Do you ever play Chicken when
Yes.
you're in the car? Well, our helicopter pilot decided to do some chicken as we were approaching like this waterfall. So it was pretty cool.
I mean, our helicopter's a little scary to begin with, and then they're doing that stuff.
Yeah, I think, I was really scared about the whole, I thought we were going to have to, do who knows what out of an airplane or a helicopter or whatever. So I was nervous and scared, but once we got in the helicopter, it was almost like the most amazing, smooth roller coaster you've ever been on with the most amazing views you've ever seen in your life. I mean,
yeah,
I
very
think
out of body, almost like IMAX at Disney World.
it's not even
Okay.
real. So you're
Yeah.
feeling just like in this wonderland, like the Land Before Time. I know I've mentioned that before. It literally just reminds you of being in a movie or a dream, one of the two. So you're not really thinking about the fear of it, maybe.
No,
you
but the
think-
beauty is gorgeous.
It looks beautiful, so I can't imagine in reality what it looks like. But even with the helicopter ride beginning, the episode, for some reason, this one seems so much more epic than last week. Like, the music, like, everything. Like, I was, like, really into it. It was intense from the beginning, even from the helicopter ride.
Well, it's so funny because even when we were up there, this particular one felt epic.
Yeah.
Did it?
Like, the heights of things were so dramatic. We could see the helicopters flying around us, and we're like, oh, this is going to be fancy.
I mean, the journeys definitely have progressed in their intensity,
Right.
in their magnitude, which is what it's supposed to be, I guess.
Right.
But this one in particular, and even watching as a spectator, like without me being on it, I would have enjoyed this episode a lot more than probably any of the previous three
Right.
because of the epic nature of it. And like you said, the suspense, it was definitely a suspenseful show. The stories were there, and the suspense was there. Nobody really knew what was going to happen, and tempers were out flying.
Well, there was enough people at risk
Yeah.
that it made this a very important show, a very important journey.
Right.
We had all sort of had our times of questionable, journeys. And so this sort of cultivated that time where, okay, we're going to see, it's either Robin and Wilson or Don and Canden, that kind of thing. And we were definitely faced with that. So
Well, when you guys first got dropped off out of the helicopters and you go up the mountain, it showed you, the episode was showing you struggling at first. I mean, what did you think when you saw another mountain?
You really want to know what I was thinking?
Yes, of course.
No. I am not going up that. I'm like, no fair. Are you kidding me? Give me another water journey, please.
Yeah.
Okay?
Well, because they said waterfall. You know, we see the waterfall when we're in the
Sure.
helicopter, so we know we're going to climb up or down the waterfall.
Which I totally love.
Yeah.
The rock climbing part, one of the writers for TV Guide or somebody said, oh, Mama Donna said she found a new passion. Well, really? Like, no, you misunderstood. The rock climbing part, like the part where we're on the rock, not the
Hike.
Not the climb up to the rock.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So get that straight. But no, really, for me, that whole waterfall rock climbing was exhilarating because you're stretching, your limbs are just really pushed to their max, and if you're flexible, it's a little bit easier. You had to use a lot of upper body strength, but I loved that part.
But what they didn't show was that the first hike initially up to the waterfall was really intense.
Like up that straight.
It was
grassy.
very steep, but it was also full of rocks and obstacles and holes and spiky Spaniard roots and things. And they really didn't show how challenging that just small stretch of hike was.
But they did
before
show the
waterfall.
stress of it when they showed you saying to your mama, Mom, if you keep talking to yourself like that, I'm going to push you down this mountain.
Okay.
Okay, funny.
Okay, explanation here. So yeah, number one, the fact that she's talking down at herself, not the fact that she's struggling at all, because obviously I'm struggling. Everybody's struggling.
Everybody
I think
was.
she's amazing for just freaking breathing and walking up the mountain. But talking outwardly to herself and vocalizing how stressed she is and talking down negatively to herself, not to anybody else, but just to herself, was frustrating to me. And what really happened was she said, I really want to throw my bag down the mountain because she hated having her backpack on. And because of the way our sense of humor is, I'm going to throw you down the mountain.
I'm going to throw you down the mountain.
Like, you know, your mom's
mama.
face, you know, like that's just, we're silly. Like, we're just ridiculous. That's just how
I will slap you.
I'll slap you. Like, and people don't get it, but that's just our little quirky communication that we have. And that's what really happened. So it was kind of a sarcastic, like,
And
I
didn't
love
even
you, but
hear
shut the
that.
heck up. You know what I mean?
Really didn't. I didn't even hear that. I mean, whatever.
I feel like with the connection that the two of you had you heard that
Yeah.
in the moment, you would have laughed.
Yeah.
Well, I did hear one of the things she said to me, please.
Which was?
Come on, Mama. It's not about effort. It's
Okay.
about heart. I'm like, heart my ass.
Oh my, okay, that, like, I wrote that down immediately in my notes because I'm like, this is the funniest thing so far. But that's what I mean. I told you when we were watching, even when you're frustrated, you're so precious. Like, you were really upset and you were like, you know, this is, like, I'm over it. You're like, I you know, heart doesn't matter. And you still came across, like, so
See,
cute.
the one time I try to be like really like it's about heart and like be really deep with her, she's
Yeah.
like heart my ass, you know. So
Yeah.
I'm just I can't do that. I can't be like all sentimental and positive and encouraging like that. I have to talk to her the way that she understands.
And I
Right.
understand it because seriously,
When I told her
I kick it.
what did I, on the second episode when I told you I wasn't here to baby you, you're like, okay, come on, everybody. Like it motivates you to move, you know. Like,
I have to say that's
Gotta
just
do
the way
what
we work,
works.
you know.
yeah.
Yeah, but it works for you guys. You got, how many episodes is this? 4 or 5?
4.
Or-
Yeah, I mean, you did
that's
so
good.
well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so we hike up that thing, we climb the waterfall, and there's
And what
some
did they call it? The Via
Ferrata, which means
Ferrata.
iron ways. So it was really old. It's a very old waterfall, and there's these old, like, rickety, you know, handles that you can kind of hold on to, but some of them are like popping out. And
It looked terrifying.
it was pretty terrifying, and we definitely were hooked up via, you know, cables, but
one cable.
one cable. But really, if you slip, that doesn't stop you from hitting your head on the mountain or like
Right.
falling down. Like, yes, maybe somebody can pull you back up, but you're still gonna probably get hurt.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So it's not a very safe and comforting climb. It's
No,
very
it
terrifying.
wasn't. And the thing about it is you really were not even watching because what Bear said was, "Don't look down."
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we did not look down. Now I looked up. I could see the helicopters spinning around the tops of our head, but we didn't really look down. to see how far up we really were. So even though I was afraid, what made me the most afraid was the rock actually inverted on itself. Made it a very awkward climb. And that's what was so scary.
The last couple steps were definitely, you were backwards, and it's all physical strength, upper body strength. And if you don't have any strength, which most of us didn't, because we're drained and tired and hungry, you have to really push for whatever's left, and it's not very much.
Well, I was so glad to, honestly, Royce was up there cheering for everybody. And I mean, I was really motivated by just him being there. I don't know, he's so sweet.
He was being very encouraging.
Very encouraging. I mean, again, cheerleader. He was definitely speaking my language. He was motivating me the way I understand, like my way of Canden, you know. And I felt like that helped me a lot to just be happy in the moment.
I think that helped. I think that helped everybody. I mean, I know Louis struggled, Madeline struggled just with the height. Being scared of heights, and Robin and Wilson obviously struggled, and so the attitude in that whole environment was really positive and encouraging, and everybody was happy because everybody could see how hard it was.
Yeah, the boys did really good to sort of keep that very in the forefront to just help us get through that.
But like getting to the top of that waterfall, and like I went back out at one point to help towards the end when Robin was coming up, and just sitting on the edge of that I don't know, cliff, you know, with a waterfall. I mean, it's scary, but amazing to feel like you've just accomplished that. And I think everybody really celebrated in that moment, conquering something. Not just like a hike, but like a real obstacle that not a lot of people can do.
Obstacle for sure. What slapped me in the face was Bear said, like, now are you ready for the hard part? Are you kidding me?
I would have preferred him to not said anything, like, let's move on to the next thing. But that happens to you guys a lot. Like, you're not even remotely close to being done. And then they're like, oh, we're just getting started. I mean, and you're supposed to be motivating each other and have this positive attitude. No wonder you might complain here or there.
Hello. That's what I'm
saying.
But so after you get to the top, then you two have to lead everyone through.
Yeah, it was a fairly short-ish hike.
What's short-ish?
Fairly level. It took about like 30 minutes or so. What?
Maybe a little more than that. Maybe a little more than that.
You're so used to doing.
I don't even know.
For 3 hours. You're like,
yeah, we don't even know.
But
it was flat. Speaking, it was relatively flat.
I was a little bit relieved at that point. Notice I had my backpack on, please.
Yeah, I mean, well done.
Hello,
well done. And then, so you had to go find the eggs, which was, I don't know why, but I just found it so funny. Everybody's looking so hard, and then all of a sudden, here's a random pile of all the eggs.
Honestly, I feel like somebody with a magic wand went boop.
And that's what it looked like.
Because that's what it felt like.
It's
like
called production.
Like we're all like looking around underneath everything because we don't know where they are, what they look like. I mean, we don't know if they're gonna look like
my butt was in the water. I was in a cave looking for.
Because they said in the pond, you know, ducks.
They're ducks, right?
Yeah, they lay their. Who knows where they lay their.
Yeah, who knows?
Just like Kyle, I don't spend a lot of time at ponds. I don't know.
Right, exactly. And everyone seemed so genuinely excited. They're like, eggs.
Yes.
It's our delicacy. This is awesome. And then, unfortunately, that's not the case. No. Go ahead and tell everyone, in case they did miss the episode, what you saw when you opened the eggs.
Real baby ducks.
Yeah, we were so devastated that it did not pan out to be just great boiled eggs where we could just sit there and have some rich, luscious boiled eggs where our tummy would be full.
And we all had a talk about this before, about how excited we were to have something that we at least knew the food. You know, it was like something that we're used to, something that we could really be happy about eating for once. And to get all that way after such a strenuous hike, after we got the eggs and had that, you know, I mean, they didn't show how long it was. It was a couple hours of hiking straight up, backwards, with spiky Spaniards. Her fingers were bleeding. Like, it was brutal. And I carried the...
Well, we made she actually was in charge of it, but I got some grass and we coddled the eggs in little sacks.
Don't break them.
Yeah, coddled them.
Thinking it's yolk.
Yeah.
Yolk. And heavens forbid if the food team ruined the eggs.
Yeah. So I carried the bag up the mountain, you know, pretty much crawling, but trying like not to
be fragile.
To not break the eggs.
Right.
And I got to the top and didn't break the eggs. You know, that was like my one priority, which unfortunately she could barely even be my priority because I was really focused on not breaking those stupid eggs.
Right.
Because that was my job. And so, you know, unfortunately some other people had to kind of take my slack and help her. And I do know, you know, I want to thank Kyle because he did at one point, she was having a really hard time and he pulled out of her backpack a picture of my dad and my brother that she'd brought with her. And it made her more emotional in a way.
Yeah,
but
I'm not so sure that, I mean,
right.
it obviously
It came from a good place.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it was a little bittersweet because it made her really emotional and kind of want to maybe quit in one way, but then it reminded her, I think, hopefully, that she needed to keep going for them and to make them proud. And hopefully, you know, that helped. But I just thought it was a really nice gesture and somebody trying
You know what?
to...
Everything those boys did, I mean, all of them, those are good people. Our cast...
They're all good.
Seems that way.
Well, and I'll say this for Bear, is it's a reflection on him. I mean, we're not perfect. We're humans, and we're just regular people. We're not survivals. We're not Eagle Scouts where we're, you know, trained and all of this. We're just regular people.
Right.
But Bear was looking for good people, and I'm just blessed to have all them because it certainly, if you were on a survival, whatever, you want people who you can trust.
100%. That'd be the most
100%.
important thing.
It is, and we were lucky if we were really in a survival mode.
For people who didn't know each other before and may or may not get along, you know, 100%, everybody was there if the need,
committed to doing what was best for the other person, I believe,
or for the
in my
group in
heart.
general. I think everybody had the right intentions.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't come across always correctly, but I think everybody is, just like she said, just good people.
Yeah, I mean, even if there are some moments, every time at the end of the episodes when someone is eliminated, everyone looks upset.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's not like there's any bad blood. That's obvious.
There was definitely no bad blood. And, I mean, I can't wait to get together with the peeps in L.A.
Mama Donna's here for 2 weeks, everybody.
Mama Donna's in L.A. Y'all, let's get together. Can't wait to see you. Mean it. Love ya.
OMG.
But yeah, okay. So definitely the eggs were going to be a priority on that last journey.
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing was everybody, especially us, we were expecting something so amazing, and to be almost like you feel like you're tricked. That's what she kept saying. I feel tricked.
Right.
I feel duped. I feel a little deceived.
Punked
because
is a good word.
Yeah, because when Bear brought the maggots, which woohoo, 8 tons of maggots. He said, you know, mash them up with your egg. So we're thinking, all right, boiled egg, you mash like you would rice or something. That'd be
Right.
gross, but whatever, we'll do it. So the whole time, no hint at all that it's going to be something so crazy, like a half-developed baby duck.
It was an embryo stage.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, some had more feathers
Hair
than
and-
others,
yeah.
but the one that I opened actually was very embryonic, and the eyeball was bigger than the head.
Oh.
It was just creepy looking, and then I thought, this is just, I'm not okay with eating someone's baby. Now that's weird.
No, but it isn't, because you saw a face.
Yeah.
I saw a face,
Ah.
and you know, what the wild is very revealing, and it just revealed that mama in me.
Of course.
Now,
I think that was apparent anyway throughout the show.
So
Yeah, and I think seeing her so upset, you know, at first I was very calm and I kind of laughed about it, and I couldn't touch it, but I sat next to Jeff. Thank you for saving us once again. And he's watching right now, so we're talking to
I'm
him.
really surprised it was Jeff that saved it.
So I sat next to him, like, while he was, you know, taking it out of the egg, and it just, I couldn't touch it, but I was trying really hard because I knew she couldn't handle it, and I was trying very hard. I'm the animal lover, by the way, not her, me. So it was tough for me as somebody who's very much an animal person to see that, but I knew I wasn't going to eat it. I knew I couldn't eat it, but I stuck around, and what they didn't show is that I stuck around, held that stupid duck over a fire, roasted it for somebody else. I ate tons of maggots. I ate the yolk. There was actually a yolk in a couple of them. Ate some of that. Like, I tried my best to be there, at least as a presence, until everybody had their food. Now, once that happened, I was done, and I wanted to go check on her.
Right.
But it's not like I just was like, ooh, screw
No,
this, I'm going to go away. Like, they really didn't show that I stuck it out and that I, really didn't cry until I saw her so upset, and it just started that trigger of emotions for me that I think I was holding back to try to make her stronger.
Yeah, but I still think that they did a pretty good job. I didn't think that it seemed like you guys quit. There have been other episodes where people didn't eat certain things and they were not, kicked off the show because they weren't affecting anybody but themselves. And it ended up, getting to them. But you guys did what you needed to do and it didn't affect anyone else.
Well, here's what I think happened is in their minds, the final cooking of the duck was the end of the task. My opinion was, if it was a boiled egg, they only told us that we needed to make sure to boil them for 5 minutes. At that point,
which she wasn't even around for that. We were both there for the boiling of the
right,
eggs.
I saw that. Well, and the fire was
one
a
more
choice.
thing. And you know what we didn't even bring up is I've been cooking for a pretty long time. And I know some things. That particular eggs floated in the water. And I said, Canden, these are floating. I think eggs are not supposed to float. And she goes, yeah, but you know what? These are duck eggs, and the proportion to
Like,
the
I was
velocity
just-
of the
who
floating
knows?
ratio, blah, blah, blah. And she's like,
I'm trying to make up any
She's trying
excuse
to
to
make up
not
this
think
thing-
that there's really
yeah.
something weird in there.
Were you
So
questioning that the whole
I
time?
was already saying you're supposed to not eat an egg that floats because it's
bad.
been fertilized. Now, here's what the wild does. It messes with your mind.
You're so crazy.
And that egg was saying, boil me, I'm good. Canden was saying, I'm good.
No, you
I'm
are a good egg. You are an egg.
We're going to eat you,
We're
damn
gonna
it.
eat you.
We're going to eat you, egg. So I was believing in the egg. and it totally
Disappointed us.
disappointed. That's why I was so mad at the egg.
See, it's stupid.
See, it was a stupid egg. And that's how I felt about it.
Yeah.
So
It got to be an emotional night, and unfortunately, I think that was our downfall. Not that we gave up or that we didn't do our job, and I think that's unfortunately what was put out there, but that really wasn't the case. We pretty much did our job. She made our own shelter for us because obviously, as you could see, the shelter sucked.
And I build
Yeah,
houses
and
for a
yeah.
living sometimes in another life. I actually did build
Sometimes.
houses. But now I'm in fashion. But I used to build houses. And when I saw the little taco thing going on, I thought, no.
Well, I just don't understand how they could claim that to have been something that they could quote unquote build.
Yeah.
That was pure laziness.
Well, let me tell you another thing is there were lean-to rocks, flat-sided rocks with a cave to one side, which led me to believe you take your shelter tarpaulin and let that be your roof, sling it over one side, and we built like a tent. It was amazing. So while she was doing some of the cooking, I was having to build our shelter, and rain was about to come. We didn't get wet.
Did everybody else get wet?
They got very kind of misty, dampy, wetty.
Why
Their
wasn't
hair.
that mentioned? That's a big
Well,
deal.
Bear did on ours. He did.
Yeah,
he did bring it up.
there's a lot. They really get down to 5 minutes left in the show, and then they do Bears Camp.
Right.
Which takes hours, and so much happens at Bears Camp and so much is revealed that unfortunately sometimes when we get there on the show it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Well, and I didn't get any extra credit and get to stay any extra longer because I built my own shelter. But it was a really good shelter, and I was proud of it, and we were very comfortable. We were private. I mean, we slept fine.
Yeah.
I just, maybe it could have played out to where I could have gotten a few brownie points for doing that. In spite of the fact that
Right.
and everything that I did that was sort of not the best, I tried to make up in another way.
But unfortunately since that somehow wasn't the point or
Right.
the end all be all of whatever her task was.
Yeah.
Which is
ended up not-
obviously the competition part of the show.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, in real life, if you were out,
Yeah.
in the wilderness and you needed to survive, that would be good.
Yeah.
Totally.
But speaking of survival, the next thing was making the rescue stretcher. and you did it with rope, and you had to make 12 rungs. I don't know. Did he explain? I don't remember why it needed to be 12.
Yeah, I don't know, unless just to keep it all fair, based on the length of rope that you had, because obviously with us, it was apparent. Anything less than what was exactly measured from what he said, it was not going to work.
Yeah, I think 12 to make it even on, on both sides, obviously, but to go maybe like to, 6 feet, maybe that's something.
Yeah, it was whatever to fit
however,
the log.
to fit a human on the thing.
Right.
It has to be pretty big. And again, like most of our survival challenges, ours was great, just not the fastest. We did do whatever we were supposed to do. We made the knots, we made the 12 rungs, but we did run out of rope. We made it a little too loose. But when
Well, you made it too wide,
or
baby.
too wide.
Yeah, she made it for a really fat survivor person.
She was preparing for the worst.
just in case. So that was frustrating.
But
and
it seems like Bear understands things like that. Like, I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong. I wasn't there. But it seems like he prefers, like, precision over, over timeliness.
I think in a real
wrong?
in a real survival situation, I think yes. In the challenges, it's a test. It's a speed test for the feast pit. So yes, you have to be rewarded for going the fastest.
But you're not going to get kicked off for being the slowest.
Absolutely not.
Right.
No, I don't think he takes that into consideration at all.
Right.
But he came up. I think he saw that we were just a little upset because I think we knew we were on the chopping block. At least I did. I felt it. And I was really frustrated, had no energy left in me, and I just got emotional. It's just that one moment of letting my emotion get to me pretty much opened the floodgates. And I started getting really emotional pretty much all the time.
Well, you've been a soldier, like a little soldier the entire time. You're a human being. It's bound to happen at some point.
I guess.
Yeah, she did great.
So in this challenge, then Jim and Austin, they set out first, and then Chris and Jeff were following them very quickly, and it was a tight race. Yeah. I mean, you guys could see, it looked super close to us as the audience, but being there, did it seem like you had no idea who was... And plus, you were also continuing to build yours.
And it was far where they had to go. Yeah. Another thing, like us trying to do our task, I'm like, oh my God, did you just hear what we have to do? We can barely breathe, and we have to run. Well, they took us on a journey to go see what we had to do. Just to go preview what the task entailed,
was brutal. We had to go down a bank, cross a river, go up this moggy
where your
bog, not bog. I was gonna say mush, bog, whatever.
It's a hashtag moggy.
Hashtag moggy. And it was really far, and I think we were a little defeated even before going into the challenge, feeling like we couldn't do that.
You had already done a lot, and you're exhausted.
Well, and they didn't show that too. They didn't show the hike that next day. Took us a couple hours, which they didn't show, and that's frustrating because everybody was struggling on that hike. Robin, Wilson, my mom, everyone literally was having a hard time, and so to get to that challenge and already feel like more. But kudos to Jim and Austin, because they I don't know how they have it in them. Austin's just like not big as anything.
Jim. That's so awesome.
They're good. They're smart. They're sharp. And but Chris and Jeff did good too. Considering how did he pull it together after Journey 3, his knee and everything?
I don't know. How'd you do it, Jeff? I'm trying to get him to call in. I was happy to see them, but I think I was worried about his knee too, because going in that bog, you did sink down, and he even said that was probably the most challenging part.
Right.
But he's going against Jim too, which he's old and has bad knees according to Austin. So good job to both of them for having it in them to get through that. And
I don't know how they
and
did
Chris
it.
And Jeff didn't give up. That's what I kept saying. Just
I know,
stop.
so
like
admirable.
They're getting so far ahead. Like they were getting, the gap was getting bigger, and I was like, just stop.
Canden,
Don't
that's
hurt yourself.
a man thing. Men don't stop. Hey, that's what separates the men
from the bull.
From the women.
There you go. There you go.
Really, we're just built different, mentally and physically. And men against men, they're going to go till the blood comes.
And they do it in such a,
chivalrous type.
There was no, they aren't, sweat and, they're not angry. They just it's, silent.
Yeah. Yes.
Silent confidence. Jeff seems to have that. I love him. I'm not the only one.
I could help you with that, okay? I know him. I have his number.
So does Canden, I'm sure. Anyway. Okay, so we're getting towards the end at this point. And actually, Jeff said something. I didn't know if it bothered you. He said that at one point they just had to get rid of the dead weight, and he mentioned the two of you, and he mentioned Robin and Wilson.
You'd have to know Jeff to let that not bother you.
I don't think, I mean, again, nobody has bad intentions, but I even knew it was either going to be me and my mom or Robin and Wilson.
See, why did you feel that way, though? Because as an outsider looking in, the two teams, they're, to me, aren't on the same, like, level. I have been feeling, like, on edge. Like, Robin and Wilson are going to go home every time. And I haven't felt that way about you guys. Yeah. Genuinely, I haven't. So why did you feel so strongly that you might?
Well, I think I hoped for that. And in my mind, that probably was the right decision. Love Robin and Wilson to death. But I felt like, for me, at least, just like Ryan said, you know, I've been carrying my pack and sometimes my mom's. They've always given their packs to someone else. The two of them. So if you're looking at what amount of work it puts on the other, you know, the other teammates, you should keep us.
But I whined a lot.
However, I did realize that, you know, Robin's attitude was only getting better. I think Wilson had a really weird attitude at the beginning, but he kind of just stopped talking.
Yeah,
he kind of just
that way.
He kind of just stopped. And Robin was very meek at the beginning. And was struggling, and then she, even though she was struggling, she got, her attitude went up.
Well, what works great for them, because let me tell you what, Wilson is a little misunderstood because he was very vocal, very type A at the beginning, and I was too, but love him, we're a lot alike. But I think that played well as a team for him to recede back vocally.
And it almost let her
shine.
Little bit of, you know, coming out of her shell really shine even that much more.
It was the right thing for them as a team.
What do you think made him step back a little bit?
I think everybody's reaction to his vocalness.
That's just his personality, and it wasn't that we didn't like him at all. It was just he was misunderstood.
And sometimes annoying.
I think Robin understood, hey, these guys aren't getting you, and you might be rubbing them the wrong way. If you will just stay in this, and that's what she kept saying was, if I'm so proud that he's just still here, because this was her game, just like this was something I chose to do.
Okay.
By, you know,
Wilson and I were the bystanders.
The
innocent bystanders.
Yeah, except Canden really got into it. And then we also, when we got voted off, I said to the producers, like, hey, wouldn't it be a great idea if you just let me go home? I'll take Wilson, and you put Robin and Canden together, and they can stay. Because
that would have been extremely interesting.
They really want to be here.
Aww.
And they're like, scratch their head a minute, just 1 minute, went, Well,
the fact that they even scratched their head for a second.
Well, but, you know, it wasn't going to happen, but it was a funny thing for me to say.
I just could see that, okay, we're on journey 4. There's, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8, so 4 journeys left. I couldn't see her making it the whole way.
I had some physical issues that I will not discuss in this arena. Okay? It is something that I will not talk about.
Is it something that we should worry about?
Yes, as human beings.
No,
as compassionate human beings.
We definitely, there were some bodily issues that definitely don't make you very comfortable
You don't
in the
go
wild.
to the bathroom for weeks.
Oh, okay.
So,
Especially
but
when you're
anyway,
my age.
not even just that, but just in general, I could
all
see,
kind of stuff.
I could see that she wasn't going to make it to the end.
Right.
And as much as I wanted to make it to the end, I somehow felt like we're not necessarily looking at the rest of the teams and seeing who else was there. No matter how much confidence I had in myself or her or us as a team, I didn't feel like we could beat some of those other teams because they just had certain skills that we didn't have or had certain mindsets that maybe we didn't have. And that stunk. And then maybe I started to defeat myself. I don't know. But I just knew that either we were going to go home this week or we were going to go home after Robin and Wilson.
Yeah.
Unless somebody else made some horrible, big, bad mistake, I felt like it just was a matter of time. And so at first, there was a moment during the survival test that I was, we were talking and getting frustrated, and I pretty much was just like, all right, I'm okay with being done for like a second. And then as soon as we were done with that challenge, I was like, crap, no, like this is not okay. Like I do not want to go home. And it was very much a battle of emotions at that point. But there
was a sense of peace because there's a photograph taken of us right after that. And I just could see in us, there was a sense of resolve that we weren't going to change anything up to this point. We had done everything that was in us at that moment.
And hindsight's 2020.
Absolutely.
If watching it back, if I would have taken a bite of a duck, would that have made a big difference? I don't know.
Right.
But at that point, it didn't feel like it. It didn't feel like if I really do something that I really don't want to do, is it even going to matter at this point?
Right. That's how I felt, because I just felt like maybe I was such an underdog on the hill, or I call it a hill, but so far behind. But some of the things that Canden would say on the hill is, Mama, you're not the very last one.
Which she wasn't.
Mama, you're not doing the worst today, which was encouraging at the moment, but I couldn't judge. I just felt in my head, oh, I'm totally the worst one. So
she owned up to it. I'm bad. I'm so bad. I'm no good. And that got frustrating because really she wasn't at the back. But anyway, I just felt like, again, it was either going to be us this week and Robin and Wilson next week, or Robin and Wilson this week and us next week. Like it just had to be at that moment. That was in my head. That's, I still have a little, I still have a little bit of a problem with it. I still don't think we were right to go home in some ways. I get it, but I still don't 100% agree. And I think that there's a couple other people out there who agree with,
I'm one of them.
Okay.
I really am. I just see so much strength in you two as a team in different ways. I see the physical, like the endurance and the strength in you. And you're so uplifting. You're like a little angel.
Well, I'm uplifting in ways that I think that the camera this time didn't show. Maybe you saw some things. Maybe you're just psychic. Because I was.
But no, I think everybody too, the cast has been tweeting us all day, and just that nothing really was the same once we left. And I know most of it is because of her, and that makes me feel really good because she was everybody's mom.
No, you're a good dynamic. It was definitely the both of you for sure.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't have been there without her. Are you kidding me? She completes me.
Oh, so cute.
Okay, so are we going to talk to Jeff, or do you want to go right into Bears camp? What are our thoughts?
Let's go into Bears camp, and we'll see if we can get him on the phone.
Jeff, call us. Are you kidding me, Jeffrey Powell? Mama Donna says call in now.
Okay, so we'll move on to Bears camp in the meantime, but we really need Jeff to call in, so do that.
Jeff has some opinions.
I would love to hear them because he seems so soft-spoken on the show, so I would love to hear his opinions.
He's not soft-spoken in private, for sure.
But they're cute. They're a cute team, aren't they?
I will say, too.
Oh, from the beginning, I was like, those are the ones. Like, those were my crushes.
Yeah.
Chris I have to say, Chris took such good care of my mom. I just think he's the most adorable
he is so
boy
adorable
on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever just look
sweet.
at people, and this just might be the really sensitive person in me, but you just look at people and your heart breaks, or you just love them, and that's how I felt with both of those boys. They seem like good people.
They are.
Yeah.
And I want to get to know them better. I mean, honestly, you don't really get to know the boys because they're not really open.
Right.
But there's just that little chemistry that he and I, Chris and I shared some moments when we were doing rose hips, which they didn't show any of the rose hips.
They didn't at all.
But that's part of our food. We would go out and gather rose hips, and we would boil them, and it would make a semi-sweet, semi-citrusy water. And then you could eat them like a little grape or something. I mean, there's not that great, but it was better than just dirt.
Or ducks.
Yeah, or ducks.
Yeah.
But and if you did it wrong, they would hurt you really bad because there were hair in them, and they would choke you.
It's like
I remember
fiberglass.
you talking about these.
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
But if you've ever heard of rose hip tea, I mean, it's like a legit thing,
Right.
that you can buy. And so we pretty much made our own rose hip tea, and
I don't know, but I mean,
what were
Chris,
those little purple flowers called that we ate?
clovers.
Like clover flowers?
Purple clovers, red
Yeah.
clover. But
Some
anyway,
weird
Chris
stuff.
and I would have some moments over the red rose hips, and I just, And
He's
he would
just a
always say,
sweetheart.
Mama Donna shared hers with me. And
Aw.
you know what I'm saying? So it was just kind of like that. I got your back.
I love
And
that.
then he got my back.
That doesn't surprise me because, I feel like boys, they love their mamas.
Yeah.
And nobody was there, and it was you. You
I
stepped
love
in
that.
and kind of, yeah.
We have a caller.
Yay!
Hi.
Hi.
I don't really have a voice. I'm sick.
Oh no, you're sick. You should drink some rosehip tea.
I should. I did buy some vitamin C that is derived from rosehip, so
Wow.
hasn't kicked in yet though.
Well,
Can
thanks.
y'all hear me? Can you understand me?
You
Yes.
sound okay.
You sound great. We can hear you. What do you think about all this, Jeffrey Powell?
Well, you made a comment, or one of you guys made a comment about calling y'all dead weight. I wanted to say something about that.
Yeah, you better explain. You better do some splaining.
Well, I felt like I was made out to be the villain. They used all of my bites for whatever reason. I know I wasn't the only one that was saying a lot of this, but for whatever reason, they decided to use me.
Well, what you mean other people were saying negative things like dead weight too?
Hey, that's not. It's no. I mean, it was you guys were struggling,
Yeah.
so But I think what it was is, for me at least, I this was the first one where I was, I think, really surprised. As I had a feeling that both you guys were going to be, kind of on the chopping block, or that it was going to be criticized. But my point was, both of them, Robin and Wilson, were struggling, and they were on the shelter team, and they didn't really have anything. Bear didn't really ask them, or at least it doesn't show in the episode, what they contributed to the shelter team, other than that they let Jim and Austin kind of take lead since they had done it before. And I don't really feel like they did anything for the shelter team. And so you guys did get the eggs and carry them up and over, even though it wasn't really a concern about getting them cracked.
Yeah.
But,
Would have been great to know that before the 3-hour
Yeah.
hike where I'm trying to coddle the eggs. Thanks.
Yeah, but that definitely made it more challenging to get up and over.
Yeah.
And you have to wonder if they were on the food team, would they have been able to do that?
Good
No.
point, Jeffrey
I felt like-
Powell.
So what I mean is I felt like you guys at least did your part for a little bit, or at least more than half. And I don't
Yeah.
really feel like they perhaps contributed to half of what they should have on the shelter team. So I just felt like there was a lot of stuff that was in you guys' favor.
Jeff, when you watch these episodes back, is it a lot different from you? Do you see different things than what you experienced?
There's a lot of stuff that's certainly magnified. Just kind of going back to the first episode when Chris got into the water. We thought that was a mistake for sure, but we certainly didn't think it was as a grave mistake as it was until we got to Bears Camp. And it wasn't even until toward the end of Bears Camp that he even brought that up. And we were there for, an hour and a half probably. So it certainly kind of alters it a little bit, but it's still pretty accurate. It's just kind of, played up to the stuff that's intriguing for the viewers.
Yeah.
So, question: do you think, obviously, Bear seemed to make her attitude, our attitude, and the fact that we got emotional, the biggest issue, that it was maybe bringing other people down. But I saw Lucky and you and everybody laughing at the fire, and taking some sort of comical relief in it. Do you really think that, whatever, my mom getting upset at the eggs was like some grave, terrible attitude adjustment that needed to be made?
No, I think, I don't know. I didn't, at the time, I think that was the first time I laughed for days, and it was great. I needed it. And there was such a limited space around that fire. You guys couldn't really get around there anyways because we were having to feed it the whole time, so we boiled them. And, yeah, you didn't open the rest of the eggs, but, what was that really going to do? Maybe y'all stuck around and made sure that everybody got it.
I did.
Like I said, I didn't. Yeah, you did for a little while.
Yeah.
But, to me, it kind of, I don't know, I guess I didn't think that at the time, being such a strong issue, or such a big issue as it was. I remember going into Bears Camp, the other big thing on my mind that didn't get shown at all which, you know, I don't necessarily want to bring up just because I'm trying to bash Wilson, but there was a few times where his honesty came into play, and I think it did in this one as well. And you never see that. You know, going back to the first episode, Bear specifically asks Wilson about his swimming capabilities, and he tells him straight on, you know, that he's been certified and he can swim great. And then we see, obviously, in 3 that he can't. And then I think in this one, he claimed that he had stuff to eat that he didn't eat.
Yeah.
None of that's displayed. And to me, that integrity was much more important to me when I'm trusting my life to these people than perhaps, you know, some perhaps issues that you guys were having with your mood or whatnot. So,
well, and you know,
I don't know. I felt like that was more of an important factor for me, at least.
You know, I think
it sounds like I'm favoring you guys.
You are,
Yay!
and we favor you.
Hey,
I
Team
think,
Orange.
like I said, they do interviews after each elimination, and the next day I think was the first time I really expressed my discontent for the decision this time. But like I said, I just didn't think that it was brought up enough, and I think other people had agenda for you guys going on as opposed to Ron and Wilson.
I was just going to ask that. Do you feel, because last episode I said, and I love Robin and Wilson, I think they seem like such genuine, precious people. But I feel like the producers or someone has been saving them when they didn't have like a dramatic storyline for someone to be eliminated. And I feel like, I mean, is that how you feel? Because as a viewer on the outside, I watch every week and I think they're going to get eliminated, and for some reason they don't.
Yeah, and I don't think it's necessarily the producers. The producers, I love them all. I mean, they were great people, and I really think they try to tell it as accurately as they what's going on here? I just saw some like dancing on the screen. They try to.
Where are you?
Get it together, Jeff. Focus right here.
Right here, baby.
Need to do that.
No, it was one of y'all on the screen. I still have it up. I can see. But there's no sound.
Oh, is it me? Is it me dancing? It's me.
Yeah,
It's me telling you I'm Team Orange tonight.
Oh, okay, that's fine. No, I think they try to be as accurate as possible. It's just that they're getting information from everybody else as well.
Yeah.
So they're trying to piece all this stuff together on the fly, and it's difficult to keep up with. So when certain people have things that they have issues with, cast members, they discuss that much more, and that seems to be more of a concern for some of the cast members than it really is. You know, and I try to be as unbiased as possible at all times, and I felt like, you know, this one had a lot to do with perhaps people's personal opinions on perhaps Canden. I don't know.
Kyle doesn't like me. I don't know why.
Oh,
Kyle
he
and
does
Royce.
like
Kyle and
you.
Royce have issues with me, and I don't get them. I don't know if it's our personalities clashing, but they seem to. Whatever.
No, they just don't understand you. That's the difference.
I tried my
We're
hardest
going to get to
be
the bottom of that. Trust me,
Yeah,
everybody.
they didn't get to know you well enough.
No.
But
No,
I
and
don't know if you-
Jeff wouldn't have gotten to know me either, you know, if I hadn't stuck around a little longer, because Jeff had some, and a lot of other people had apparently
Preconceived
some
notions.
preconceived.
Oh, we certainly did.
No.
I mean, we weren't able to talk to each other at all, but we had.
They
like
had
a week.
sized us up. They're like, oh no, these two blondes.
Exactly.
They're
Well, that's what it is.
fine. No.
They were judging a book by its cover, I'm assuming.
There were some particular things that happened that
Such
seemed a little
as?
high maintenance before we started filming that I think gave people that idea.
I do not deny that.
I had a little bit of a fit before we went on the plane. Chris and Jeff were behind us. I had some peanut butter in my purse, and I was like, I love peanut butter, and if I'm going to go in the wilderness, and I didn't know if they were going to even let me bring it, which they did not, but I really wanted to bring my peanut butter with me on the plane, which is a 13-hour plane ride to New Zealand, and to maybe have them, if they said you can bring one personal item, I'm going to bring peanut butter. Well, they took my peanut butter at TSA, which they always let me travel with peanut butter. And I just was already just emotional. And so I kind of pitched a fit, and poor Jeff and Chris were like, wow.
You told me this story. You're like, this is like $5 peanut butter.
$5.
It wasn't a fit. I thought TSA was going to boot her out of the airport. She was causing a scene.
Listen,
Everybody.
she had to have
But it
her
wasn't
socks
just that
put on
one
a certain
particular
way.
incident. There was a lot. It seemed that every time we saw them, they were in some kind of argument with somebody.
We're just dramatic.
That was my first opinion. Wow,
And
they
then
were
they
going to be
eat
the
it.
first to go.
And then they ended up drinking urine and eating maggots. That was probably shocking.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised. I think everyone else was too, but I think some people didn't let go of those first opinions.
Well, we love everybody. These people, I need them back in my life more. I mean, seriously. I mean, I am.
You need to have your own reunions.
Yeah. Well,
I'm
I've said
I
it.
have to say, I hope they do that.
Yeah, and I've said it from the beginning, you know, there's sometimes where if you're family, you don't have to like each other all the time, but you do have to love each other. And
that's
we
what
really,
we have.
I feel like we have a family here. You know, we're the first season of the show. Everybody was doing this on the fly. I mean, you know, we didn't know what we were in for. And to be able to get through this together and come out of it with an amazing experience and some awesome friendships. Like, I hope that everybody takes it the way that I have and that we have, and, you know, Jeff and the people that we do stay in contact with, I hope that everyone is on that same page because we're like family.
And you know what's so funny is Ryan and Madeline got married, and so did Louie and her husband Dave.
Yep.
Since
That's
the
awesome.
show.
A lot has happened. Well,
Yeah.
hopefully, if for some reason they don't do a reunion, maybe everybody can come to AfterBuzz and we'll do one.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
That'd
I'm
be
here in LA.
awesome.
Jeffrey, you need to be in LA.
Yeah.
I know, I'm trying.
You don't sound so
Fine.
good.
I wanted to say one thing real quick, though,
Go
about
for it.
I didn't get to comment on the last episode, but there were some, I guess, opinions last time.
Chime in. Let's do it.
About how the episode was played out. I think there was just so much that happened last episode. It was so difficult to kind of put it all together. You know, like with my knee, and then you don't really. I guess some people thought that there wasn't really like a follow-up as to, you know, okay, he's just okay, I guess, he's better. But I think there was just so much going on that episode that it was really hard to show everything and then follow up with everything without it just seemed too jumbled. And I think they did a good job, but I felt like last episode got bashed quite a bit. I mean, I think everyone wishes there's some changes in all the episodes,
Of
but
course.
you know, I think those producers do the best they can. The reason I'm saying that is because I really appreciated a lot of the producers, and I grew close with them too, because you grow close with everyone that's part of the show, not just the cast members.
Well, too,
I think Ryan Summer was the one who did episode 3.
I think Ryan's watching.
Was Andreas.
I think
Hey,
Ryan's watching.
Hey.
Ryan's watching tonight.
Jeff, wait, hold on, Canden.
Okay.
Are you referring to specifically maybe the little love connection that they put online of you and Canden that was cut out that you were unhappy about?
Well, it's funny about that because I don't have an opinion on that.
And no comment.
Yeah.
I will just say that Ryan and Madeline's little, you know, blurb about how gross it would be if anything did happen, we both agree with that it would be gross
imagine,
if
yeah.
that happened.
Adorable as we think you
I would
both
say
are.
after the first week and a half, I think your body had removed all of its toxins. You didn't really start to smell as bad.
Oh, so I
That's a
smelled
good
nice.
point.
That's
So you
okay.
mean there was a chance that you would have kissed?
Yeah, a couple more weeks, you know, maybe it would have been.
Yeah, see, a couple more
See?
weeks. That's all we needed.
Oh man.
Sorry, I had to ask.
No, it's fine.
okay.
My only other add-on to your little spiel, Jeff, is that do you think that it has to do, the fact that some things get left out or whatever, and that sometimes it's confusing to us, is because of the time limit, that it's really only an hour and they're trying to fit so much that happens into 1 hour? Like, do you think it should have been a 2-hour show?
I certainly think so, but you know, I don't know. It's hard to say without actually seeing it that way. Maybe it would be too drawn out and it would be boring, but it just seems like compared to some other shows, there's so much that does happen that you really could focus on a lot more of the personal relationships, not just within the teams, but between the teams.
Right.
But I don't feel like we're getting to see right now, and
I'm
I certainly know that there was a lot more going on between the teams as far as how people were connecting and how they were interacting with each other, and I would like to have seen that, and perhaps some of the audience would have too.
And perhaps. Very nice. You sound very smart tonight. You are very smart. I'm just saying, I'm very impressed. Would you keep talking, please?
Medicine. I never take medicine.
It's the medicine.
It's the medicine. Oh my
Not
gosh.
me. Definitely not me.
Well, everybody thinks you and Chris are so uber cute.
Yeah, do you have like 1,000 more Twitter followers? Because I know I personally have the biggest crush on your team. You guys are the cutest.
Well, thank you.
Hey, you're welcome. I'll take Chris as mine.
Chris is mine.
Oh yeah, she's
So basically, okay, I'm out.
No, I'll
He's
share
a
Chris.
girlfriend.
He actually has a girlfriend. So he's totally
Yeah.
good that we can play.
Yeah, so we can have a crush.
We can have a crush on Chris. He has a girlfriend.
Well, we are way over time, so we're gonna wrap it up. Thank you for calling in,
Thank you,
Jeff. We
Jeff.
hope you
We
feel
love you,
better.
Jeff. Yeah.
We love you.
Yes, you
And
guys.
I'm gonna say this for the third time. Reppin' Team Orange from here on out.
So, hey,
So
where
you
can
guys
they,
better go all the way.
where can
And,
they follow
Thank
Jeff
you.
on Twitter?
Yeah, where can they find you on Twitter, Jeff?
It's referee Jobert.
So basically, say it's Jeffrey Robert, but reverse the first letters of the two.
Referee Jobert.
Referee Jobert.
Referee Jobert. I can't even say it.
That
I
sounds
think
like
it's the first time I've ever
a
said it out loud,
cartoon.
actually.
Sounds good.
And now you're regretting your choice.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Referee
I'm
underscore
not sure if
Jobert. Okay, I know what it is.
All right. Well,
We'll
we
follow you.
We hope you feel better.
Well, thank you.
All
Talk
right.
See
to
you lovely
you
ladies
later.
later.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
All right.
Hey, I need some more Twitter followers. Can we plug Mama Donna OMG?
Absolutely.
Just did.
Just
Hey,
did.
I'm just saying.
At Mama Donna OMG. What? Okay. So let's do predictions really quick because.
Can you do them? Do you know anything?
No.
Okay.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV
Oh, we have to.
predictions.
predictions for who goes home next? Why don't my mom and I should do predictions on who we think is gonna win,
Okay.
and you can do predictions on who's gonna go home next week.
We'll see how that turns out for me because I have no idea. But go
I
ahead.
think who's going to win is Jim and Austin. As much as I love everybody else, I think Jim and Austin.
I see that card, and I will raise you one for Chris and Jeff because I'm torn between the two, but
Yeah.
I gotta go with my boys.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
This is so hard.
Like you're wearing blue, kind of, and I'm wearing orange. It works
I know.
out. All right.
Oh, that's so true.
So then, who do you think is gonna go home next week?
Have I said Robin and Wilson every week? Because I don't now. And now I'll probably be wrong. They'll probably go home next week. But I don't. And so now I'm lost. They've kind of been my crutch. I've been thinking like they're going to go home. I genuinely have no idea. But why don't I go ahead and say who I think will win? Because that's where
Okay.
I'm at.
Okay.
I think that Jim and Austin are going to win as well. But I love Chris and Jeff.
I
I'm
know.
so torn.
I
It's
think that-
honestly a toss-up between the two.
It really,
really
is.
is.
But I just feel like ultimately Jim and Austin, they just got it together. Like
They
every
do.
time it's just smooth sailing for them somehow. Even if they don't do like the greatest on, building shelter.
And Bear sees so much in himself
In Austin.
in Austin.
I can see
And
that.
I think that he is nurturing that spirit. And Chris and Jeff are just super uber great guys that are athletes and smart and can do everything. That's a little too expected. But on
True.
Bear's world, it's about the dude, the nerd, like Austin.
And Bear seems to have that nurturing side. Every time Canden's been upset, he's rooting for her,
He's
Or-
good,
I
yeah.
love him.
I love
I
that.
love him.
He's precious.
Hey,
and
let's have a crush on Bear.
yeah.
Hey.
I mean,
Team
he's
Bear.
married too,
Team
but
Bear.
that's fine.
That's why
That's
we're allowed.
why we can do it. Hello, I'm married.
All right.
Single
well,
lover.
Thank you guys so much for tuning into AfterBuzz TV. Bing is for doing. That's why we're doing another GOA after show for season 1. Get Out Alive with Bear Grylls. You guys can follow me on Twitter at Candel Bliss. Please keep tuning in every week, even though me and my beautiful mother are not on Get Out Alive anymore. Hopefully, we'll still be a topic of conversation. And they can find you on Twitter again.
Follow me at Mama Donna OMG.
You're the cutest.
Wow.
And you can follow me, Ashley Michelle. I am the AM broadcast. That's Twitter and Instagram.
I think we
Hey,
should
I'm
do
on
this
Instagram.
every
Girls' night?
Yeah, I think we should do
We don't
girls'
need
night.
Steven and
we don't need
James.
the boys, right?
Mama Donna, stay here.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't need them.
And Marissa, we got Marissa.
Yay!
Don't forget to download Serial Buddies on iTunes and Amazon.
Yeah.
And rate this awesome after show.
Rate
on
this
iTunes.
Yeah,
awesome after
number
show on
one.
iTunes. Give us some stars. Comment. We'll respond to your comments. And so.
And I'll cook red beans and rice for you. They're awesome.
Done.
True story.
Done.
All right.
I'll
Good
eat
night.
them.
Good night, guys.
Good night. Thank you for tuning in.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.